Hi, I'm Jeff Ajak. I'm the owner and founder of Action Continuous Improvement, and this is my latest episode of my Ramblings with Continuous Improvement Coach. Today, I will be talking about a somewhat of a controversial idea, the idea that inspections are bad and they're a sign of bad quality, not good quality. So I've got a handful of reasons for this. And the first is that if you have an inspection, it means that you know something's wrong and you're not doing anything about it. You're just inspecting the quality into it. So you're allowing this problem to continue to happen, the error that's causing the mistake, it's causing the actual physical error of the defect moves up, and you're just letting it happen over and over and over again. And if you weren't, you wouldn't need an inspection. So the inspection basically says, we've got this problem, we're not going to fix it at the root cause or the source, we're just going to kind of inspect it in at the end, and we're going to get quality by inspecting quality in. So I don't like inspections because they represent an admission that you're not getting to zero defects, or you're not focusing on attempting to go over and over. So temporary inspections are fine, but they got to be temporary. And in my experience, most temporary things end up becoming permanent. But the other reason is what I'm talking about today. And the big thing for today's focus is that inspections give a person this perception that they're working with a safety net. So I don't like that. I don't like thinking people can be looking at their product that they're building and feel like they don't have to be perfect. Now, I know nobody's perfect, but there's this thing called a zero defects mentality. And that means that you go into it trying to be perfect. So even though you know you're not going to succeed, you act as though you can succeed at getting that perfect, perfect quality. And that gets you closer and closer and closer to it because of your focus on it. So just by having that intent to get perfect quality, you get closer and closer there. And you will have perfect quality in isolated areas. And the more isolated areas you have it, the better your overall quality is. And quality is one of those huge drivers for lean. Anytime you have something that disrupts your flow, it sets back your lean operation. So now when I talk about this whole idea of a safety net, I'm not saying that people just go and say, okay, I'm not worried about quality anymore. What it is it gives them this little margin for error that kind of sneaks into their brain. And when that starts happening, they start thinking about things like, let's say they have to put a bunch of screws inside of a unit, and they close it up and they start feeling like, did I tighten them all down? And it just little doubt sneaks into their head if they don't have a great process in place. And they start thinking, did I tighten it down or not? And say, well, somebody else will catch it down the road if I didn't. And they start thinking about that, thinking, well, a lot of other people are going to look at it, it'll test poorly. I know I have an inspection on it, so if it is loose, somebody will catch it. It takes a lot of time to go back and double check myself. And it's not like if they know they did a problem, they're going to go back and change it. It's just when they have that little bit of a doubt. And most of the time, the doubt is going to be fake. It's just going to be how people get when they're doing repetitive tasks. Sometimes they get a little confused about whether they did it or not. So I want people to have this idea that there's no safety net, that they have to be perfect, and they won't let anything go if they have some doubt about it. And then the other thing is, if they know somebody else will be looking at it, they may not make hard decisions that cost any kind of time or money. So let's say there's a tiny paint bubble and they're not sure about it. It's just enough to make them question it, but not enough to be like a clear and obvious problem. Or there might be like a small scratch in a very inconspicuous area on a plastic casing. They're like, yeah, I probably should pull this out, but most times they're going to let it go through. I'll let the inspectors decide. So you start getting that idea of like people let little things slide, and then little things become bigger and bigger things when there's like a pressure for time or a pressure, to hit a number. So basically, in a nutshell, inspections make people either take a little bit more risk, or they'll defer important decisions. Maybe not like important decisions, but they'll defer the marginal decisions to let somebody else make the hard calls. So the real problem with doing this is not that there's a huge cost involved. It's just that you layer on more and more value, and then the costs start to rise. So if you fix this problem on your own, you might cause a small line stop, or you might disrupt the flow a little bit, but you'll fix the problem. But if you let it go on and it gets down 3 or 4 stations down the road, or somebody else keeps adding value on top of that, and then it's discovered, now you have a bigger problem. They have to take all that value off of the unit, fix the problem, and then reapply it all. So anytime you let a mistake go further downstream, it increases the cost, and sometimes it's even an exponential increase. So what I like to do is I like to think of inspections like a disease, and that you have to cure that disease. So every inspection you see, you have to be thinking about it. It's a bad thing. It's a problem. And then start working to get rid of the cause of the inspection. So even if you go down the list of all the items on the inspection list, Those items are there because you've discovered problems on those. So your focus with an inspection should be sending a team after each item on the inspection list until it can be perfect and not have any problems show up on it. So you never, you track your data. And if you find items on your inspection list are starting to get better, that they don't need to be inspected, you're never finding the problem, you take them off the list, but you let everybody upstream know that it's no longer being inspected. You don't want them to keep thinking they have a safety net. But of course, if you are perfect in your quality and you're not getting the problems, they've probably already done that. So the bottom line, if you have an inspection, don't tolerate it. Go up to the root cause, mistake-proof it, improve your process. Okay, that wraps things up here. Again, I am Jeff Hajic. I'm the owner and founder of Action. This has been my ramblings of a continuous improvement coach series. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do, please subscribe to my YouTube channel or become a member at my Action videos and subscribe over there. That's a paid service, but you get a lot more content. It's pretty reasonable on the pricing. Like I said, just go check it out. And if you're already there, thank you for being a subscriber. Thanks for watching, and best wishes on your continuous improvement journey.